Ladies and gentlemen,
everybody wants the prize, but nobody wants to pay the price.
Can they be pushed? Do they have a sense of urgency? Do they want to be great?
And then of course you look at them and be like, yeah, right.
Everybody wants to be on your team when you're on top.
I saw the angel and the marble and I carved until I set him free.
Go be somebody, bro.
But the most important part of the Be Somebody journey is the resilience.
Welcome to the Be Somebody Podcast, your real and raw destination for all things entrepreneurship, leadership, and culture, with your host, Kash Shaikh, and our CEO and founder of Be Somebody Inc. and BSB Group International, Kash Shaikh. Welcome to episode 9 of the Be Somebody Podcast. A big shout out to all of our listeners, supporters, and subscribers. I'm your co-host, Kash Shaikh, with our founder and CEO of Be Somebody Inc. and BSB Group International, Kash Shaikh. What up, Kash? I see you got another hat on. What, another bad haircut?
Man, I'm going to tell you, look, I will be honest that the repercussions and the reverberations of that awful haircut still exist to this day. You know,
man.
I mean, it's been a painful process to recover from that at home. I mean, all the things we've been going through, right? All the things we've been going through. That at home fade that didn't turn out to be a fade is still, you know, it's still hurting me personally, like physically, emotionally hurting me. But that's only one reason I got this hat on. Because
what's number 2?
I mean, first of all, this is an antique. Look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not it's got the little indentations here. Got that leather strap on the back. I mean, but
it's been worn.
It is worn. It is paying homage. Is it homage or homage? Homage.
I say homage.
Homage. Okay, paying homage to one of the best and oldest baseball franchises in history. And you know, it's hard for me to wear this.
I was about to say, I was like, dude, you're
Boston
Astros
Red
all the
Sox
way.
hat, because I'm you guys know I'm from Houston. I'm from H-Town, Houston Astros all the way. I'm wearing a Red Sox hat, a Boston hat.
Boston.
Because I told you guys. Because I told you.
You said it.
On episode 5, I told you.
Yep.
That we were going to get Davey, the Boston Barber, on the show.
Yep.
I said we were going to get Davey on the show.
Yep, you did.
I said we were going to get my barber, Davey Callinan, from Boston on the show, and we got him on the show tonight.
I'm excited, man, because I really need some tips on a fade and how to cut this hair,
man,
right?
we already said. The last time I said your hair belongs in a museum. Today it feels more like a carnival. You know what I mean? I mean, it feels a little bit more like, you know. Yo,
this weekend, all right? This weekend.
Dude, I'm just, man, I feel more energetic today.
I can see
because,
that.
man, just having Davey here, man, I can't wait. Like, I don't know where this is gonna go,
right?
But I know we're gonna walk away on fire, though.
Yep.
Because that's how it used to be back in the day.
Yeah,
in the chair.
But going back to episode 5, you know, switching gears a little bit.
Yeah, we said
job opportunities.
Yeah, we said we were gonna hire some people, which you know, I know is a little bit crazy because we've been talking about the layoffs, the furloughs, the business closures on all these episodes. A lot of people have been affected. Right. I mean, a lot of people that we know. I mean, we talked about it here in the studio. A lot of friends and family and former colleagues that have been affected by this. And we said we want to do something to help. And you know, a group that's been really hurt by this are the creatives. Right. Freelancers, creatives, videographers, photographers, marketers, because most companies have gone dark on marketing right now for various reasons. So a lot of those people have been affected. A lot of those people have been laid off, and again, through no fault of their own. So we said we want to do something, number one, to help. It's who we are, it's what we do, it's what Be Somebody's always been about, it's what BSB Group will continue to be about. We want to help in the small way that we can. So we want to help. 2, you know, we're blessed because we are working with technology companies right now, healthcare companies, grocery companies that honestly are busier than ever. Right, so I mean, I feel so grateful. I mean, we're so blessed. Those partners of ours are busier than ever, so we have an opportunity to bring on talented people to help those partners grow. And number 3 is a little bit selfish for Kash. A little bit selfish, I have to admit, because man, there's some talented people out there right now. 30 million people have filed for unemployment. there are some very, very, very talented people out here right now. I'm looking at Josh right now. He's getting nervous. He's getting nervous. No, I mean, Josh is getting nervous because we had a lot of videographers applying. But no, no, there's some really talented people out there right now that honestly 60 days ago, 30 days ago, I mean, we wouldn't have had a chance to bring on, and we do now. And we want to double down with this blessing that we have to help people, but also improve this team. Right. And create a more powerful arsenal for our partners.
Right. It speaks to our culture that we're all in this together, and you believe in all of us, because you haven't even interacted with any of these candidates yet. You're trusting us on this whole process, and I think honestly it's just super inspiring that we're part of this.
The important part, and I know we got to move on because I want to talk about talk to my Bible.
Yeah, we got to switch subjects, right?
But I think it's so important because we believe there's nothing more important than culture,
right?
And for me, the only way that you build it and protect it is it's every single person in the company has to be involved, and that's why I love that this is a full team, all hands on deck effort, hiring and interviewing all these people. Because not only are we learning about them, we're learning about ourselves. We're reinforcing our culture and our values, right? And everyone feels a part of it. And yes, we definitely value and are looking for certain technical skills. But if the culture fit isn't there, it ain't gonna work.
Thank you for innovating this whole new way.
Thank you, man.
Hope that a bunch of other companies come up with it and follow this.
I just want someone to apply for the co-host job, man. Because
oh man,
I mean, if I gotta look at that hair every day. Now, speaking of hair and speaking of inspiring, speaking of hair and speaking of inspiring, I'm so excited about this guest, Davey Callinan. I'm gonna let you do the intro like you do.
I'll do it.
But like I said, I got the chance to meet Davey when I was in Boston, 2016, and it was such a pivotal point in my life and the journey of the company, because we were trying to grow our original platform, but also midway through we were trying to and forced to pivot our strategy. And we made some looking back, some smart winning decisions that helped us get to where we are today.
Right.
But I was living in Boston. I was actually living outside of Boston because it was too expensive, for rent in Boston. You think about like that, that East Coast, West Coast rent,
Right.
So it was too expensive. So I actually lived in a town called Everett. And Everett. The cool thing is you could still see the Boston skyline from my apartment.
You love skylines.
Oh man, you and me, bridges and skylines, man. I loved it. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, cool. I had a small little studio, me and my dog, me and Love. This was before the golden doodle days. So, but what was cool about it, man, is I loved being in that area of New England, because the cool thing about Boston is when you go from one area to the other, and I'm gonna forget the name, township, suburb, precinct, whatever, parish, in like New Orleans, whatever it is. When you go from one to the other, they have the signs on the street, right? They say, it's like, welcome to Everett, welcome to Somerville, and like, and it's like established 1652.
Damn.
Like
colonial times,
like 1680. And it's like straight up Plymouth Rock, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like,
wow.
I'm from Texas, so it's like 1880, 1900s.
Yep.
But I mean, this is like the colonial. You feel like you're at the beginning of
roots,
something, the birth. So I love being there. I love that energy, man.
Yeah.
And then also there's 52 institutions of higher education within 10 miles of the Boston city center.
That's crazy.
So, when you talk about enlightenment, you talk about like history, you talk about heritage, you talk about Tom Brady, talk about Red Sox. I mean, it's all over there. So I love being there. And as we know, as a man, Vikas, especially as a man with that beautiful hair that you have, one of the first things you do when you move to a new city is like, where the hell am I going to get my hair cut?
Yep.
Right? We're like, where the hell am I going to get my hair cut? And it's like stressful, it's like stressful. And luckily, as I was coming home from work one day, because our office was downtown, I saw right across the street was a barbershop called Black Label Barbershop.
Love the name.
I know you love
the
that
name.
Man. I know you love that name. And so I like Googled it. I looked it up on Yelp. I looked at reviews, really good reviews. And I said, I'm going to walk over there. I walked over there. I walked in. They looked at me. They're like, you got a fucking appointment? What the fuck? You got a I was like, no. I'm like, no, I just live across the street, you know? But, you know, I was like, hey, is there a discount? You know, is there a neighbor discount?
Ding,
but,
ding, ding.
You know, so I asked them that, but they were full. But Davey was like, no, I'll take you. You know, I got you. And then, man, as soon as I sat in that chair, man, I knew that I found somebody that was like a spirit animal, you know,
there you go.
a fellow fire breather.
Yeah.
Because we talked about everything from his story to my story to our passions to, you know, what motivated us to what inspired us to pick ourselves up when we got knocked out. And I knew that it would be a connection that would last for a while. And I always told him, man, like, dude, first of all, you need to do voiceovers for some of the videos we do. And secondly, man, we got to get other people to hear what you have in your heart. Because it's so inspirational. Right. So man, I don't want to talk anymore until we get him on the show.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited because I hope he shares some tips with us because my fade's looking a little rough right now. So let's welcome to the show a leader who followed his passion in 2013 and joined the Black Label Barbershop with multiple locations in Boston, Massachusetts. Also known as the Boston Barber. Please welcome Davey Callinan.
Hey, good job, good job. You even pronounced the last name right. You know what I mean?
There we go.
You even forgot to ask him if he was on the line.
He was already on the line.
He got it right up the first rip.
There we
Dave,
go.
what's up, brother?
How's it going, Cash? That was a good little introduction there. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, man. I mean, people don't know. People don't know the history. They don't know the story, brother. People forget that there's so much depth through every interaction, through every relationship. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what this life's all about, is coming across and meeting like-minded people. And like you said, once you got in the chair, you know, I appreciate that you felt that way because I felt the same way. Because it wasn't long. I had just begun my journey there, becoming a barber at that point in my life. That's why I was available to take you. The other guys are booked up with appointments.
Right.
I don't have that client. I don't have that clientele. So I'm hungry. I'm just getting my footing in that world.
Yeah,
when we spoke. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I mean, that's so true. I mean, even just that, I mean, you were kind of like the new kid on the block. You were kind of like earning your keep over there. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the way I got in. But I knew when I sat in the chair, dude, that you were going to push your way up no matter what.
Oh, without a doubt, because it was with me, even being at that point, it was much later in my life. My friend started that barbershop, a kid I went to high school with. He had been doing it for years. I got involved in it so late because it was something I always looked back on in hindsight and said I wish I had done, but I had never had experience. I had never pursued it. But my thought literally became a thing with that because I must have put it out in the universe enough that about a year before meeting you, I got the opportunity.
Before we get into kind of some of the details and some thoughts about what's going on today and where you are in the story, like, can you share a little background on your personal journey and how you got to that chair that day? Because I know that it came with some struggle and some sacrifice.
Oh, of course. Because, growing up and going through high school, I was the kid that never did his homework. The teachers would say he's not living up to his potential, not getting the good grades. He's not living up to it. And, life comes at you fast. You have to, all of a sudden, you're graduating high school, and they're telling you, choose a career. Choose something you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Right.
And I wasn't ready to make those decisions. So in procrastination, I acted like I could just put it off. But you still get thrust into the world, and you have to do something. Right. So long story short, I did 10 years of jobs I hated. I did alarm work. Right after 9/11, I went and worked at not TSA. It was a year before it was TSA. The government was funding it, but I went and worked right at Terminal B where it all went down. And I went to work. In the week of Thanksgiving after 9/11. So I did all these type of things, And I would say, and I did moving. And then I lived in Florida for 5 years. I moved furniture, I did all these things. but I didn't have any. I used to say I don't have any DNA tied into this. And then as I got older, I said, I really wish I could find something. You know what would have been good for me? Because my buddy Long, who owns the barber shop, I said, how come I never got with him and learned that from him? He's such a well of information. I could learn from the best. And I'm telling you, man, I was working at a warehouse for $12.50 an hour when I first moved back from Florida. And it was terrible. And I wanted to quit it. I had moved back into my mother's house. And I said, you can't quit this job. I go, because that's a luxury. I go, the people here would probably like to quit this job because they don't like it, but they have to pay rent. They have to take care of their family. I go, you have the luxury of living it. I have a free place to stay right now. I go, so you can't let go of one branch till you have hold of another. And randomly, I went to a Halloween party with my buddy Long. I seen him there. I don't even know how the conversation started, but he was offering me a job. And I said, look, I'm 30 years old. I never gave a haircut in my life. Everybody in your shop is well known and respected. But I knew, I had this thought, and now the opportunity is presenting itself right in front of me. So now it's like this. You really want to do it? Because here it is. And even though I knew I would fall on my face, I said, if he's so knowledgeable about this business, he has to already know every obstacle I'm gonna run into, and he believes in me. So all I have to do is not give up. And then literally, that's how I got there,
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, what was your Halloween costume at the party?
Listen, I'm going to tell you, Cash, I didn't even have a Halloween costume. The weirdest thing about it, listen, I would work from 11 in the afternoon to 7 at night, Monday through Thursday. And on Friday, I'd have to come back in and be there at 4 in the morning. So that turnaround from Thursday to Friday would be so awkward that Thursday night I would never get sleep. I'd be exhausted. So I'd go home. So I went home and passed out. My buddy called me. I woke up at like 10:30, 11. He goes, I'm going to Long's Halloween party. You want to go? I said, yeah, sure. I go, I'm not wearing a car. I just threw my clothes on. I went there at like midnight. And such a spur of the moment. Now, Long had already been my barber, right, and a friend of mine. But if I didn't go to that party, it's just so weird how it comes down to like how you say, these little instances in your life,
Well, so I always talk about those the little signals and the signs. Like if you allow yourself to feel and see and witness the signals and the signs of the universe, you are led in the right direction, because the universe is always talking, Davey. The universe is always talking. Most of the time,
100%.
we got too much going on in our heads. We got too many insecurities in our souls. We got too many fears that are holding us back, and we don't realize that the universe is always talking. The universe wants us to succeed. The universe wants us to get to where we want to go. But you have to open yourself up to that, and you did, and that led you without a costume, with your Paul Pierce jersey, probably to the Halloween party.
Like how you say the universe speaks to you like that, right? But you got to be able to understand it, right? Because it only speaks to you in ways you can understand, right? I had a cousin that passed away, and his brother started a softball team for him, right? Mm-hmm. And I never, ever played Little League growing up. I never had any type of baseball skill. I could maybe play stickball. I could swing the bat, right? And I remember, this is before I had the opportunity to become a barber, just speaking about the universe speaking to you and being aware of these things and what they're trying to teach you in those moments. And listen, we won like 3 championships. All these guys are phenomenal. They're phenomenal softball players. They played Little League. They're phenomenal. But they know I'm family, so yeah, you can DH, right? Now, one night we're playing this serious team, and they go, look, we're short guys. He goes, Dave, you got to play second base.
Oh,
my anxiety level went through the roof, right? Because I don't have the choreography down of playing defense in baseball. They make it look easy. It's where you're in position, how you react. And I remember walking out to that Diamond Cash, and it's nighttime, and now this other team is great. The elite team is good, but I'm going to be a weak link right now. There's people watching, right? I go and as I'm walking out, riddled with anxiety, like I'm going out. I go, there's something for me to learn in this right now. Even though I'm uncomfortable, I got to thrust myself in it. I can't be scared. In younger years, that's probably something I would shy away from. But I go, I gotta feel this discomfort, right? I go, because there's a meaning for it later. I play second. The first at bat, here comes the ball, right? All I gotta do is put my glove down, scoop it up, toss it. Take a breath, toss it, throw them out. Boom, I put my glove down, I pick it up. I'm so nervous, I throw it so fast, I throw myself right on my ass. I land. Listen, pitches on the ball and throw myself backwards.
Hey, David, you cut out there a little bit. Are you walking? You cut out there that last bit.
Oh, sorry. No, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
When I picked up the ball, I was so nervous to get the out and how I would look. I threw it, and I threw myself backwards and landed on the ground. Listen, people in the stands laughed, everything. And then you know what I said later on? The barbershop that you came to, the one that I started at before that, was way smaller, right?
Right.
And I said, and it was tight quarters, and I don't know how to cut hair at all at this point. I'm like, I
feel bad for the people that you were cutting their hair, though. You know what I mean? Like,
but there wouldn't be that many, and that's the only way you learn. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because cutting hair, it's interesting because like I can't practice it at home by myself.
Right.
I can only practice it when I'm doing it. So to feel uncomfortable when people in the waiting area watching me, I drew it from that. I drew the strength from that night going and playing the softball field and reminded myself how uncomfortable that was, and I still did it. And that's how I use, like, what you say with the universe speaking to you, you know?
Right. That's awesome.
But that's an interesting thing about cutting hair that you say is because, look, when you never did it and you never worked in a barbershop, now you have to not only try to drum up business for yourself and get people in your chair, but you got to figure out how to do it while cutting them. All the while you're pretending to them that you know what you're doing because they don't want to feel like you don't. So it was a very tricky thing, and it was something that really taught me about finding security in myself, you know, like a confidence builder because you have to accept your flaws, and you have to accept, even no matter how old you are or how mature you are, if you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to do it. So the kid could be 10 years younger beside you doing better than you, but you can't have an ego because it doesn't matter.
Right.
Where's your experience lie?
Right.
Yep. So it's very humbling, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. And Dave, you're cutting a little bit in and out, so I don't know. I know you're hype moving around. Maybe
I'm pacing. Yeah.
I know it. I feel it. So, but try to channel it so I can hear the whole thing. But the thing is, man, that's so powerful is that, you know, I mean, there's so many things to unpack in that, but one, I mean, going back to you seeing Long, who was the founder of Black Label Barbershop, and saying, this person is an expert at his craft. This is someone I want to learn from. I want this person to teach me, to tutor me, to take me under his wing. I mean, I've always believed the best way to learn is through, you know, mentorship, apprenticeship.
I mean, that was the Be Somebody original model right there, right?
Exactly. That's what it was. It was finding experts and learning from them. And that's what you did. So I mean, what about that, man? Because people forget how important it is to find that person that can guide you through your personal and/or professional life. People are always attached themselves to the wrong type of people. But you took a moment after 10 years of grinding on things that you didn't want to do, that weren't fulfilling you, that you knew weren't unleashing your full potential, and you say, you know what, this is a person that I see doing something, and I want to follow in his footsteps. And maybe I'm not going to be the carbon copy, but I'm going to take some things, I'm going to learn some things, I'm going to make them my own, I'm going to go build something great. You know?
Right, because I knew the thing was, I went to high school with Long. We were friends in high school. You know, we had mutual friends. We weren't as tight as we are now, say. We would see each other mostly in the barbershop. But we would always have very candid conversations when we spoke. And he always knew. I would tell him, I would say, Long, you know, I love this business, bro. You're in business. Like, I would go in there and I'd be like, they're bumping music. Like, they're doing their own thing. Like, this isn't Comcast. This isn't National Grid. Like, they're making their own way, and they're getting to be who they are. And that's what I love about me being a part of it now. And it still shocks me. But I always admired Long because I knew he was a good person. I always felt he was one of the smartest people I knew. He was very aware and observant. I used to tell him all the time, I go, Long, if a guy walked, because I'd see him look up out the window while he's cutting my hair, I go, if a guy walked by across the street, you would know if his shoes were untied, you know? So I just, but the thing is this, I knew he don't make bad decisions, right? So if he is entrusting me with the opportunity.
If he believed in you, then you know you had it.
Yeah, then I need to believe in me as much as that, because he's putting his name on the line, his reputation on the line, and wasting and just could be wasting his time. So I said, look, I have to deal with embarrassment. I have to deal with insecurity. You know, I got to deal with all these feelings of discomfort, because I'm sure he already looks at the plotted course for me and knows everything I'm going to run into. So I just have to be able to accept that. And once he gave me that, once I had him believe in me, it honestly did not matter who didn't, because I knew
that's amazing.
I was just going to maintain forward motion, even if it was a baby step at a time. That's all that mattered. And now I'm here, you know, and now some people only know me as ever being a barber, which is still a shock to me, because I still feel like I'm that guy that's pretending to be it.
I just know you as a second baseman, brother. I mean,
right.
but man, you know, that's the thing is, I always tell my team, man, I have a disease. I have a disease of belief. Yeah. And because I have a disease of belief. You know, and I know, and I say that I know we shared that disease. We share that chronic condition of just believing in people, sometimes seeing more in them than they see in themselves. You know, and for me, like I'm 40 now, Davey. So I mean, when I was 30, 10 years ago, I didn't have that belief in myself. I acted like I had it, and people saw me as, you know, confident, borderline cocky. And, you know, when I look back at my Facebook memories that pop up and I see this shit I used to write, I'm like, man, I can't believe I was like that, because I hadn't really been through it. I hadn't experienced the sacrifice, struggle, and suffering that you need to go through to become humble enough and bold enough.
Right. That's important. Right.
And smart enough to be able to get over the fears and insecurities that you have, man. But that enabled me to finally, like, love myself, believe in myself, and then start seeing people and be like, man, I see something in you that maybe you don't see, but I want to get it out of you. I'm gonna push you. You know, I'm going to push you to get it out of you, because I personally believe if we don't get it out of you, like, what are you here for? Yeah. If you leave something in the tank and the world doesn't get to benefit and be blessed by the gift that you have, like, why the hell are we here? Right. You know what I mean, Dave?
It's because we all have this power. I was thinking about this driving today, like how I was thinking about how things would come up in this podcast. And, you know, when I was younger, it took me a long time, and I wish I got into barbering younger, right? But I don't think I would have had all those skills and those tools that you just mentioned.
Right.
And I said, you know, when you're younger, you have this feeling inside you that things, I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be that, or I'm going to be okay, you know, but it's not an assurance that you're going to be okay. That's your potential. Now you have to put it to use, you know? But for so long, like, I just thought, like, something good was going to happen, you know? But now I understand that was me. That was me misreading it, or however you would say it. Like, we all have that power, but you have to commit to it. I told someone recently, I said, look, I know it's all about belief system. I believe in magic. I believe if I really wanted to go to the moon, I could be an astronaut. I believe that. But I don't have that love for being an astronaut, you know? And once I started to realize these things, that's how I stayed so committed to barbering. Because I said, no matter what, and I would tell another person that we have in the shop now who's succeeding, my buddy Bill, and he would be uncertain maybe a little times, like how it was going to work. I said, Bill, as long as you can outstand the storm, you'll be fine.
Right.
Don't fall victim to the storm.
Well, the thing is, man, you know, the fact that you put it out there into the universe. A lot of people don't realize, like, I was talking to, you know, people in my own family, right, that say, hey, I'm visualizing this, I believe in this, I'm waiting for it, I know it, I'm positive, I know it's going to happen. And I see them saying that year after year after year, and nothing happens. Right. And I'm like, and I finally said, you know what, like, sitting there just visualizing it and believing it and thinking you're going to manifest it ain't gonna make it happen. Right.
That's what I mean. That's the confusion I'm speaking of. Because it's called you're getting a hint at what you're capable of. You have a feeling inside you of something where you need to go, but you can't just sit there because no one's going to come pick you up and bring you there. You have to understand and trust that as an assurance.
Right. And Dave, this is the thing I learned, man, that like not only is no one going to come get there, if you don't get off your ass and take the steps and put in the work and decide to go be great, decide to go do it, if you don't put in the action, the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears, the universe does not respect it. The universe does not respect you. You know,
well, just because you have potential doesn't mean you're going to have success. You have to put something behind that. You have to become the driving force now to complement that potential. But the potential idol itself is nothing.
To me, Dave, it's actually worse than nothing. It's wasted. You know, it's wasted because it's sitting there unused and unfulfilled, and that's why everything that we've done, that I've done, would be somebody right or wrong. Sometimes we made more mistakes than we had, winning decisions, but it was always to try to push people to make that move, take that step, to go for it, because I knew that if people didn't, not only would they not fulfill their potential, they'd have the regrets later that they didn't.
Well, the problem I think is too that really helps you get over the hump of the things we're speaking of is when you truly believe in yourself, you stop considering what someone else is going to perceive you to be in the process of getting there. Because I feel like a lot of people, they all too often consider the thought of what they look like making the move, because they're thinking about the step they're making and not the destination they're going towards. Oh, I look funny making this step, and they're going to think I'm walking funny. Well, yeah, the funny walk is part of it. I'm on my way to this place, but your thought doesn't matter. So once you really don't mind that, that's when you really realize it's all basically a simulation, and it's all just part of the process. You end up trusting that process so much that it doesn't matter people in the stands laughing or not believing. Because I told someone recently, I said, well, you have to understand this. I said, you're too concerned with the people around you in this area and getting their acceptance, but you need to look at where they're at. Because if you're judging all your moves based on what they think, you're only going to ever make it as far as they are. You'll never make it past them. Furthermore, if they think like that and these are people you're worried about, but yet you say they hate on you or whatever, then but you're giving them a second thought to your next step, you have to understand, no matter what you do, those are never going to be the people that will contribute to your success.
Right.
So any thought about what they think is a waste of time on your journey to succeeding.
Right. And you know better than anybody. People always project their own fears and insecurities onto
Correct.
you. Correct. People can't. Most people, that's the lens they see. So when they say that you can't do it, I mean, everybody told me that when I left my corporate job, that was stupid. When I left my startup job, that was stupid. People loved it when Be Somebody was cool. When Be Somebody started not to be cool, when we were losing, everybody was talking shit. Everybody was saying how bad I was, how awful we are, and all those things. And then, like I say at the intro, everybody wants to be on your team when you're on top. So when things are good, the rats and roaches start crawling back to the ship. You know what I mean? So everybody's either projecting their fears and insecurities onto you, or they're jumping off the ship when times are bad and trying to crawl back on when they're good. But the beautiful thing about recognizing real and people like you, Dave, is that we know who was there for us.
Oh, 100%. And when you see it all, and when I believe in myself, I could be down in the dumps. I could be knocked down on the ground on my hands and knees. But the thing is, I know personally deep down I'm going to get back up. So if I see you give up on me, that's fine. I just take inventory of that. I don't let that weigh me down. You know what I mean? That's just it. And I go, okay, well, you're going to laugh later. When you make tribulation your tradition, you don't get bogged down in a hardship. Because sometimes people get so bogged down, like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, whatever they're going through, right? But when you make it your tradition, you accept it as the norm. That way, because I got news for you, and you already know it. When you go through a tough time, the universe doesn't have any quota for you in your tough time. Cash met his quota for tough times for the next 3 years. It's all smooth sailing. No, the next one's on the way. So the quicker you get past and accept it and improvise and adapt and overcome and move forward, the better off you are.
Well, you know what's interesting, Dave. When we on episode 6, we had Henry Cejudo, Triple C, double UFC champion, Olympic gold medalist, And he said something that really, you know, we were going back and forth about failure and about failure being a teacher and like what you learn. And I was like, man, if you know, because he got knocked out in 2016 by Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson in about 2 minutes into the first round of his first championship fight. And he was a laughingstock. And 2 years later, he came back and he fought DJ and he won. He became world champion. And I said, man, if you didn't get your ass kicked that first fight, I don't think you would have won the second one. And, you know, he said something that actually surprised me. He said, I agree, Cash, but when I got knocked out, I still knew the next day that I was a born fighter. Like, I knew I was born to fight, you know? And when you're telling me about what you're saying, it's just like there's certain... And actually, all of us have it in us if we make the decision
100%.
To get over our own fears, insecurities, and bullshit to be that fighter.
Mostly it's insecurity. Insecurity will keep you from doing it because, like I said, we all have this potential. We all have the resource inside of ourselves, right? But people are scared to play with it. People are scared to push the buttons of it because they're too busy looking funny or not knowing. People are going to say, oh, you don't know what buttons you're pushing. Or like you said, people project onto you because it's foreign to them. How can you believe in yourself that much? And like, look, people get upset. Oh, he doesn't believe in me. Well, he doesn't believe in himself. So how's he going to believe in you? Exactly. Who cares? Keep going. That's it. But people get too hung up on thinking like that all those people matter. No, just realize you're more special than those people because don't you see? You should feel bad for them. They don't believe in themselves. It's not personal about them not believing in you. That's a personal issue. They don't believe in themselves, so you're speaking a foreign language when you have such a strong belief system in yourself. They don't understand you. That's all it is.
Yeah. Oh, so well said,
but
man.
Look, you know what was great when I first met Cash? When it really started to click, and I realize now it's like your main thing that you say, right? It's like the core of your beliefs about Michelangelo carving the marble, right?
Yes. I saw the angel in the marble and I carved until I set him free. It's about vision. I remember that, man. I remember telling you about I don't know how we got onto it, but I was like, I got this quote that I live by about, you know, Michelangelo's angel in the marble and
that's how I knew.
Yeah.
That's how you knew. With you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I have a belief system because I was on a journey right there where people like you wouldn't have known the difference, but people in that neighborhood, you got to remember, I grew up in Everett. Long was the barber in Everett. He was cutting the coaches, the teachers, all the students, and he was nasty. And he was well known all around. Yeah. So for new people, they see me, they just think I'm another barber in the barber shop. But for the people that have been going to the barber shop for years, they're like, Long, you got Dave working here? You know what I mean? And I had to just be like, well, yeah, watch. I know I can see in your face when you don't believe in me. Or my favorite thing would be when I would progress and you see those same people and they see you doing good and they're like, wow. And then you can tell they don't say it, but you can see the surprise in their eyes.
Right.
And they'd be like, oh, I expected you to be doing bad. That's what their body language and facial expression says. I can't believe you're doing good. Right. That's what it says. And honestly, that would fuel me. I loved it. I have another saying, you know, how they say light the fire. I say spike the fire. Spite drove me in so many ways, and that might not apply for some people, and I don't mean it in a bad way like I was resentful. It was just I had a lot of spite because I felt that, like, oh, I already know
you use it. You use it as fuel. You use it.
Yeah, like, because I know in a lot of aspects it looks like a long shot or it looks like it ain't going to work and whatever. And I would purposely say, well, I'm just not going to stop. You know, I'm just not going to, that's it.
I remember talking to you before I was, you know, when we were raising money, and remember we had Steve Pagliuca who was trying to invest in the company, and I was telling you all the trade secrets. I'm like, yo, I'm meeting with Steve Pagliuca. We're at Bain Capital. It's going to happen. And I talked to you before Shark Tank. I said I'm going to go on, and I talked to you after. And I said, man,
that's right. I absolutely. I remember you telling me you were getting ready to go on there. That's correct. That was the time period.
Yeah, and before I thought, and I remember telling you before, like, man, I think I got this, man. I mean, I'm like, I know my business. I feel like I can sell this, blah, blah, blah. And then I came back and I'm like, well, you mean that was like straight up Los Angeles reality TV. It didn't work out.
Yeah, so my haircut was on Shark Tank, right?
What's that? Yeah, your haircut. Hey,
my haircut was on.
And I was looking pretty, bro. I was looking pretty.
I know you had a hat on, but still it looked clean. You know what I mean?
It was clean. It was clean, but yeah, your haircut wasn't. But I mean, do you remember that, man? When I came back from that, I mean, do you remember some of those conversations we talked about? Because I know at that point, to be honest, Dave, like right when I left Boston, bro, like I was at my lowest point, and I still believed, and hopefully you felt the belief that was still in me, but I was at my lowest point because we had just been knocked out, you know.
Well, they pulled the rug out. They pulled the okie doke on you. You know what I mean? They make it look like it's going to go one way, and then it goes another way, and then like you had the thing going with the Celtics, like you said, right? You know, and then the Shark Tank affected that. So now it seems like the dominoes are going in the wrong direction. You know, they're going backwards instead of forwards. But now I bet you realize it's all part of your story. That's all part of, I forget the guy's name you mentioned, but that's the knockout, right?
Right.
And now you're winning the next fight.
Right. No, I mean, totally. I realized that actually I needed that, man, because if that didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have the gratitude, the humility, and the resilience necessary to fight the fights I've had to fight the last 3 years. And I needed those bruises. I needed those scars. I needed to remember what it felt like to get knocked out, to know that's never going to happen again. Right. You know what I mean? It made me a better fighter, dude.
And not only that, I think like when you get the feeling of getting knocked out, per se, you also remember the moments that led up to it. So you remember, like, next time you're heading into something and it might not be the best way, you can kind of read it a little different because you can wait a minute. I'm getting the feeling of when I was going into this or that, when it was a bad thing. So you can kind of predict the steps prior to see it earlier.
Yeah, so true.
Like the forecast, like a weatherman, you know what I mean? You can see the storm coming.
Yeah. Oh, I always tell Dave, it's so funny you said. I tell my team, all I am is the cow in the field, man, that senses the tornado before it comes. Like when you see me mooing and moving around like crazy, it's like, and you think I'm going freaking nuts, and you're like, what the hell's happening with that little freaking cow in the field? It's like, man, I know the tornado's coming. I already know. Yeah. And Herbie, I want to have Davey on the show at least once every 4 or 5 episodes, man. I want to have reoccurring guest. Guest. If you,
I'd love that.
Yeah, man. I want to make this something, man.
I'll check in, give you the report from the ground. You know what I mean?
Exactly. but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, because we're almost at our time now. But before we wrap up, I mean, I have been thinking about you a lot, bro, because I know that, and we were seriously but also jokingly but empathetically talking about how we believe, like, how it's crazy that barbershops have been closed because they probably haven't been deemed essential businesses. So how have you been handling it? How have you been surviving? How are you doing, bro?
Well, I'm doing well. The thing is, it closed down, right? I mean, we planned on it being a month. If it goes another month, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And I'd rather be safe at this point. After seeing all the terrible things that have happened, that I know legit people who have contracted the virus now. You know, Of course, some of them have underlying issues. My girlfriend's best friend works at Mass General. You hear stories of 29-year-old kids getting, intubated. So it just becomes a real thing where, like, at first you're like, oh, I'm bored, or money, but it's like, look, if my people can come out all right, I'm fine. And I just take the time. I've picked up my photography game, which is something that I learned.
Exactly.
While I would be doing barber, I'd be editing pictures. Now I finally bought a camera a year ago. So fast forward to this year, buying my second one. And I'm honing in on that. I'm taking all this extra free time, and I'm learning new skills in that world because I'm pushing those buttons now, too, within myself. I'm enjoying that aspect because I'm somebody that realized, like, the world is spinning, right? And it's like, even if you just brushed up against it, you would alter its axis. And we all have that power. That's the power that's inside you. We can all alter the spin of the planet if you're just willing to just brush up against it a little bit. So I'm just taking this time just to hone in on those type of skills. And honestly, it's keeping me sane, Yeah. It's like an artistic, creative format,
I love that, man. Man. So, And I love that you're using this time to unleash your other passion of photography, because I follow your photography on Instagram as well, man. And I know you got that skill and that talent, and that eye. So
it's unbelievable because it's free time I'm being given. You know, the universe is giving me that free time to be like, look, hey, you don't have barbershop time, you don't have haircut time, but you still got a bunch of pictures you took. You can still go back to old ones, watch videos, learn how to edit things differently. You know, just study that now.
I saw you take the pictures.
I don't have time for this.
I saw you take the pictures of those balloons, man, sitting on the street, the empty street. I saw that poet. I saw the poet in you come out.
You seen that, right? And that's just literally, Cash. But this is why I love it, because look, I haven't taken a picture in so long, and I'm driving down the street, and the guy I follow in the Philippines, right? I'll send you his account. He's unbelievable. And he would tell me, like, you know, practice doing small things and little things like that. It will help you. And I'm driving down the street. That street's empty, you know? And I'm like, there's these balloons kicking around. So I'm out there like I'm Picasso. I'm just kicking the balloons in the wind, letting them do their thing. And then I edit it, and then I end up loving it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful, man.
So I'm actually pretty gifted right now because I already have my camera. I already have the lenses that I need. You know, I've already been building the skill. When I've been busy cutting hair, I haven't had time to do it. I have to squeeze it in little like windows, right? But now I have all this time. I could just focus on past my like barbering's my passion. I love the connections with people that I make. Like, look, I know you through it,
right?
But now you need a hobby too. My friend would tell me, and now I found my hobby. And it's something that I would only do in pieces before, but then I learned to like hone in on what is in my DNA, and that happens to be in my DNA, those creative juices.
Yeah. Well, bro, man, we could talk for 10 hours, Davey.
We need like 5 more episodes.
Yeah, this is a commitment, bro. I mean, you and me are connected.
No problem. And this is just off the cuff, so I mean, of course, you know, we'll hone in on things.
But there's no other way we do it. We keep it real. It's always off the cuff, man. It's always real.
Yeah, of course.
I've been blessed, Dave, in my life to meet some amazing people, some inspiring people, some, you know, a lot of successful people, and you're someone, man, that always stuck with me. That was 4 years ago. It seems like yesterday I was sitting in your chair, and you know, you're an amazing person, man, an inspiring person. We're gonna have you on the show multiple times. I'm just really proud of you, bro, and love everything that you're about. And
hey, likewise, bro, I feel the same way. It's all derived from the same belief system. So that's when the limit is limitless, you know?
Right. Vikas. We didn't let Vikas talk, man. Usually Vikas talk. But Vikas, I wasn't going to let you get in on this one, dude.
I couldn't get in on that one. I couldn't get in on that one. That was all you two.
This was mine.
Thank you, Davey, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, bro. I was nervous about this all day.
It didn't sound like it at all. It didn't sound like it at all. But
bro, let me just tell you.
Good.
Yo, the ball got hit to you. You were at second base tonight. You got the ball. There was adrenaline in your veins. There was sweat pouring down your forehead.
Yeah.
But bro, you did not overthrow. You didn't overthrow. You hit that first baseman's glove. The was out at first base.
I like that, bro.
We won it.
That's true.
We won it today.
I like that.
Davey, thank you, man, for joining us here today on the Be Somebody Podcast.
Pleasure.
We love you. Thank you.
Hey, go be somebody, bro. Friggin' Mark Cuban.
Exactly.
Hey, who's laugh? Hey, Cash, you know what the best laugh is? Is the last laugh.
Hell
I feel like you're getting that, and I feel like that's what you're really getting right now. You know what I mean? And you're only beginning to chuckle right now. You haven't even begun to laugh yet. The word pivot is correct because you keep pivoting ways. Believe me, I see the Yahoo articles. I see all the things you're doing. It's tremendous. You pivoted to things like that I don't even think would be expected. You know.
Right.
And turn them into like a legitimate thing where they now have a life of their own. And then you pivot into this, the podcast, from public speaking. I think I love the organicness of it.
Thank you, bro. Means a lot, man. I appreciate you, man. Love you, bro.
No, bro, for real. You're doing big things. I always liked watching your speaking videos, clocking G's. You know what I'm saying, brother? Keep clocking G's.
Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon, Davey. Have a good night, man. Stay safe.
Cash.
Man, That was super powerful,
man. Because I know you're about to ask me for one big thing, man. But I'm
dude,
gonna
our
take.
Listeners are asking for
no,
it.
No, I'm gonna take it because, like, you know, first of all, thank you for letting me go back and forth with my boy Davey. It was like a trip down memory lane. I mean, 4 years ago, I used to sit in his chair and just be inspired, and I'll just, you know, I feel on fire right now.
Right.
After talking to him, you know what I mean?
And I was just sitting on the sidelines.
And I feel like we could talk for hours and hours, and that's what happens when you connect with that kindred spirit, that spirit animal. And the one big thing for me that I hope people take away from this episode is that, like, you know, the universe is always talking, and if you're focused and faithful and resilient towards your vision and towards that place that you want to go, to that person you want to become, if you keep believing in that, right, you're going to run into people all over that will help you get there. And it might not be with money. It might not be with, you know, a job. It might not be with, like, advice in the standard typical way. It might be just with the one word, the one look, the high five. You know what I mean? And I've had that so many times in my life where, if I look back at the road that we've been on the last 10 years, you know, because I kept the belief and because I was centered in where we wanted to go, I was blessed to run across these people, man. And you can't overlook anybody, you know, because who would have thought that when I moved to Everett and I walked across the street to the barber, that 4 years later we'd be talking about Mark Cuban and the Boston Celtics and be on the podcast. I mean, this person is, and Davey is someone I talk about a lot. Davey, you don't even know how much I talk about you because you inspired me so much, man. So I see it on both sides. One is like, you know, be open and be willing and be ready to take that inspiration and guidance from anyone and anything that you see, because the signals and the signs are out there. The people, those beacons are out there for you if you're willing to hear them. Yeah. And on the flip side, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter what your job is, no matter how young or old, you could be that person that's inspiring someone that's motivating someone, that's pushing someone to go do the thing that they want to do. You know? And that's a powerful thing. That's power that every single one of us have. And it's a power that we often forget.
Such a great episode. Thank you, Kash, for sharing that with us. Thank you, everyone, for listening to episode 9 of the Be Somebody podcast. Don't forget to check out all of our audio and video episodes on besomebody.com. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and all of your favorite podcast streaming apps. We out. Be somebody.